Some characters on The Simpsons became instant fan favorites, but not everyone made the cut. Some are seen as annoying, boring, or just not fun to watch. So who are the most disliked characters in The Simpsons universe? Stay with us as we break it down.
Oh, damn it! What happened to my partner?
Apu na Hasapi Mapetalon used to be a background favorite. He ran the Quickie Mart with a smile, sang Beatles songs in falsetto, and lived in a small apartment with 8 kids. But over time, the humor faded. The jokes about his arranged marriage, thick accent, and convenience store life began to feel lazy. What once seemed like light comedy started to look more like a stereotype, especially when fans learned that Hank Azaria, a white actor, had been voicing him for years.
Oh my god! The fox was actually Tiku!
In Homer and Apu, Apu loses his job after selling spoiled meat and tries to fix his image with Homer's help. The episode was harmless to many viewers at the time, but for South Asian fans, Apu didn't feel real. He felt like someone else's idea of who they were. Then came Much Apu About Nothing, when Apu fakes being an illegal immigrant to avoid deportation. The episode tried to mock the system, but it ended up turning Apu into the punchline.
Look at me! I betrayed my Indian heritage, sir!
In 2017, Hari Kondabolu's documentary The Problem with Apu brought these concerns to light, and by 2020, Azaria stepped down.
Please, Mr. Simpson, my brain needs sleep.
But for many fans, the damage had already been done. This change in how people saw Apu matched how other characters began to wear out their welcome. Gil Gunderson, for example, was once a funny side character. He showed up in Reality Bites as a desperate salesman, always on the edge of failure.
Hold it! I forgot my phone charger.
At first, his bad luck was funny. But as the show brought him back again and again, fans started to feel sorry for him, or just bored. He always failed, always begged, always lost. Nothing ever changed.
Oh, come on. You can't say no to old Gil. No!
In Kill Gil Volume 1 and 2, Gil stays with the Simpsons during Christmas and refuses to leave.
Is that for me?
What was supposed to be funny ended up feeling annoying. Viewers knew exactly what to expect every time he appeared. Gil wasn't a character anymore. He was just a sad running gag that stopped being fun. That same problem happened with characters like the Yes Guy. His only joke is the way he says yes in a long, strange voice.
No. Yeah.
It might have been funny once or twice, but he kept showing up. In Marge vs. Singles, Seniors, Childless Couples, and Teens and Gays, he appears again doing the same thing. His whole role is to say his line and leave. He doesn't help the story or add anything new. Fans began to complain. He was just noise, a cheap way to fill a few seconds of screen time.
Oh, yes!
For many, he came to represent the show's decline, when the jokes became lazy. Agnes Skinner didn't have a catchphrase, but her attitude was just as tiring. As Principal Skinner's mother, she showed up often, and almost every time, she was yelling at her son.
No, Mother! Don't look out the window!
In The Principal and the Pauper and Grade School Confidential, she's cold, rude, and controlling.
A dagger through my heart.
At first, her strict behavior was part of the humor, but later episodes turned her into something worse. She didn't support her son. She didn't let him grow. She wasn't funny. She was mean. Skinner, who had always suffered from weak writing in some episodes, looked even more helpless next to her. Fans got tired of the same jokes about him being a grown man who couldn't stand up to his mother. And Agnes never changed. She didn't grow, and that made her hard to like.
I have no son.
Cletus Spuckler had a similar problem, but it was more about the way he was used. He was meant to be a silly backwoods character who lived in the countryside.
That's right. We homeschool them. I teach the big ones, and the big ones teach the little ones.
At first, his big family and old behavior made people laugh. But as the years passed, the jokes started to feel cruel. In Yokel Chords, Lisa tried to help Cletus's kids get an education. But most of the jokes still come at their expense. In Apocalypse Cow, Bart tries to save a cow and nearly ends up marrying one of Cletus's daughters. It's clear that the writers were trying to be kind. Cletus and his family became easy targets, used to make fun of poor or rural people. Instead of being characters, they were just a group of jokes. Over time, this made fans uncomfortable because it felt like the show was just punching down.
I can't. I simply can't.
Brandine Spuckler, Cletus's wife, had the same problem. She She didn't show up as often, but when she did, the jokes were always the same.
Cletus Spuckler, what have you done to our children?
In My Fair Laddie, she leaves Cletus for a short time but returns to the same life. Her jokes were about incest, poverty, and having too many kids. Like Cletus, she wasn't written to be real, just to make fun of a certain kind of person. Fans who liked The Simpsons for its smart writing started to feel like these jokes were lazy. Brandine didn't grow or change, and her role stayed stuck in the same kind of humor.
Wait a minute. Are you two brother and sister?
We's all kind of things.
Even Ralph Wiggum, once one of the show's sweetest characters, began to lose fans.
No, Ralph. This means you're failing English.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Early on, he was strange but lovable. In Lisa's Rival, when he says, "I bent my Wookiee," it felt honest and cute. But later the show pushed him into weirder and weirder territory. In This Little Wiggy, Ralph becomes even more confused and helpless. People started to wonder if the show was making fun of someone who might be mentally disabled. It didn't feel right. Instead of a sweet boy with odd moments, Ralph became a walking list of nonsense quotes. His character lost its heart, and fans began to feel uncomfortable.
Sorry, Ralphie. The bake-off rejected your recipe.
Lindsay also didn't sit well with fans. She's used as a businesswoman, a network boss, or a marketing expert whenever the episode needs. In She Used to Be My Girl, she returns to Springfield as a successful reporter and makes Marge feel small.
Get me a baked potato so I can throw it at your head.
That's her usual role, to act smarter, richer, or more successful than others. But there's no depth to her. She's just there to move the story or to cause trouble. Over time, fans stopped seeing her as useful. She didn't have a real personality, just a few traits that were used again and again. The same issue appeared in other characters. Comic book guy who has always divided fan base. As the owner of the Android's Dungeon, his rude comments and know-it-all behavior make him hard to like. He often acts like he's smarter than everyone else, using big words and mocking anyone who disagrees with him. His famous line, "Worst episode ever," was funny at first, but over time fans started to see him as annoying.
Leave me alone. Get out of here, you stupid kid.
In Worst Episode Ever, he tries dating Agnes Skinner, and the episode focuses on his personal life, but many viewers didn't care. They felt he was still the same mean and boring character. In Married to the Blob, he falls in love again, but fans found it hard to believe. His bad attitude stayed the same.
I have a bad feeling about this. Every action movie ever made reference.
In other episodes like Husbands and Knives, he puts down others and acts like a gatekeeper, making people feel left out. Over time, fans saw him not just as a joke, but as a mean person who added little to the show.
How do you like this punchline?
Dr. Marvin Monroe got a different reaction, but for similar reasons. His scratchy voice and strange ways of helping people made fans turn away. In There's No Disgrace Like Home, he shocks the Simpson family with electric therapy, trying to make them behave. Instead of being funny, the scene felt loud and awkward. People didn't think he was helpful or smart. He was loud, pushy, and not very interesting. As the show moved on, he slowly disappeared. When he showed up again in The Simpsons' 138th episode spectacular, even the writers joked about how nobody missed him. His return felt like a reminder of how out of place he was. He didn't connect with fans, and his odd voice and strange behavior made him hard to watch.
No, that's not true.
See?
Helen Lovejoy also failed to win fans over, but in her case, it was because of how she acted. As the preacher's wife, she always acts like she's better than others. She gossips, complains, and causes trouble while pretending to care about morals. Her line, "Won't someone please think of the children?" started as a funny comment, but it soon became tiring. In Marge vs. the Monorail, she stands against the project not because it's bad, but because she likes to be in control. In The Joy of Sect, she joins a strange cult without question, even though she always claims to care about morals. She's quick to judge others but never looks at her own actions. In other episodes like A Tale of Two Springfields, she adds drama without reason. Many fans see her as a troublemaker who hides behind fake concern.
Timothy, I finished saying my prayers.
Miss Hoover is another character fans don't like, and the reason is clear. She's Lisa's teacher, but doesn't seem to care about teaching. She looks bored, tired, and annoyed most of the time. In Lisa's Substitute, her absence lets a better teacher step in. Mr. Bergstrom connects with Lisa and makes learning fun. His presence shows just how bad Miss Hoover is. Later in My Fair Lady, she still seems unhappy with her job. She shows little care for her students and doesn't try to help them grow. Fans saw her as a symbol of a broken school system. She's not evil, but she adds nothing good either. Her lack of energy and care makes her hard to support.
Calm blue ocean, calm blue ocean, calm blue ocean.
Disco Steu also lost fans, but for different reasons. His whole joke is that he still acts like it's the 1970s. His glittery clothes, platform shoes, and weird dance moves were funny once, but he never changed. In Two Bad Neighbors, he shows up just to be odd. In How I Spent My Strummer Vacation, he tries to be part of a music retreat, but his act feels old. Fans grew tired of seeing him say the same things over and over. He doesn't change or grow, and people stopped laughing. Even in the future-themed future drama, he's shown to still be stuck in the past. His whole character feels like a leftover joke that went too far. Millie Van Hooten didn't annoy people as much as she bored them. As Milhouse's mom, she was often shown arguing with her ex-husband Kirk.
I know I haven't eaten that well since I was in the army.
Or that noisily.
All right, that's it.
In A Milhouse Divided, she leaves him, but her reasons don't feel real. The episode focuses more on Kirk's sadness than on Luann's feelings.
I want a divorce.
In Little Orphan Millie, she gets back together with Kirk, showing the same old pattern. Her character never grows or shows a new side. Even when she shows up at town events, she's usually in the background doing nothing special.
You said we were going to see Coco Melon.
Fans didn't hate her, they just didn't care. She felt like a blank character whose only purpose was to cause problems for Milhouse.
Milhouse.
Mom and Dad!
Rod and Todd Flanders, Ned's two sons, have always been a target of dislike. They are very polite and religious, but also very sheltered. They speak in high voices, ask simple questions, and seem scared of the real world. In Bart Has Two Mommies, they're so attached to Ned that they can't do anything on their own.
I don't want you watching my boys ever again.
In The Monkey Suit, they believe in creationism without question, showing how little they are allowed to think for themselves.
Please bless Daddy and
Stop praying to that stork.
In Home Away from Homer, their strange behavior drives away Ned's tenant. While their kindness is clear, they lack personality and are hard to relate to. Unlike their father, who shows more depth, Rod and Todd feel like empty versions of Ned's values. Many fans wish there were more than just jokes about strict parenting.
Thank you, God, for letting Mrs. Simpson come over. It was the most fun we've had since Mommy was here.
These characters all have something in common. They either never changed, had no real depth, or were just too strange to care about. Comic Book Guy never stopped being rude, Miss Hoover never showed passion, Disco Steu never dropped the act, Luann never stepped out of her failed marriage, and Rod and Todd never became more than just quiet, awkward kids. Fans noticed when characters felt stuck or pointless. In a show with so many great personalities, these ones stood out in the wrong way. Which Simpsons character do you dislike the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You don't want to miss it.